Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification to the right. The Slight Edge: The Story of the Two Sons. The book The Slight Edge, written by Jeff Olson, is one of the greatest personal development books written of all time. In this video, we will be highlighting one of the most powerful stories told in this book, The Power of Choice and the Story of the Two Sons. A wealthy man was at the near end of his life, and before he died, he wanted to ensure that his two sons had the opportunity to experience the richness of life just like he had. The wealthy man knew his time was limited, so he told his butler to summon his two sons. The two sons arrived at the wealthy man's bed. Both looked sad and tired. "If I could do so, I would give you both the world," the wealthy father told his boys. "But of course, I can't. Instead, I am leaving you both with a gift." The boys wept in a corner to hear about their father's approaching death. The father told the boys to hush and lifted two boxes from the bedside table onto his lap. "I am giving you both the same choice." Inside one box was 1,000 crisp, brand new $1,000 bills, $1 million. Inside the second box was a shiny bright penny. "Whatever you choose, you must leave it in your purse under my butler's care for 1 full month, so that you have time to think about how to use it. Whatever you do not take will be returned to my estate, which I'll leave to charity." "I will add one more thing," the father said. "If you choose the million, you can draw against it as a credit with my bank in town. If you choose the penny, you can also draw against it, but every day you choose to leave the penny's line of credit untouched, my butler has instructions to double the contents. Now, take this book with you, and tomorrow morning, come back to me with your choice." Both sons left and returned to their home for the night. The first son could not sleep and decided to read the book the father gave him. Inside the book were two tales. One of them was about a little water hyacinth that grew near the edge of a big pond. It was so small and insignificant that no one even knew it was there. Yet day after day, it doubled. Even with the doubling, after 3 weeks, you could barely still see it. But by the end of the 4th week, it covered the entire surface of the water. The first son reflected upon the story and struggled to fall asleep. He laid there pondering. The second son also pondered in bed for a while, but did not decide to read the book his father gave him. His decision was already set the moment his father presented him the choice, and he decided to go to sleep. The next morning, the two sons came back to their father, and each presented their choice to the wealthy father. The second son immediately went to work. He chose the $1 million and opened a $1 million line of credit at his father's bank. The first week, he hired an executive director to rent out a hotel suite in the center of town and hired the sharpest financial advisors, market analysts, and investment experts available. The group spent the second week researching, brainstorming, and drafting strategies to help transform the young boy's wealth. By week 3, they were ready for war in commerce and had grand plans to turn the boy's millions into billions. Now, the second son was curious how his brother, the first son, was doing, so he decided to pay the first son a visit. The first son told his brother, "My butler gave me a peek into my purse. I selected the penny. On the second day, a penny had been joined in my purse. On the third day, there were 4 pennies. On the 4th, there were 8. The second son listened in disbelief. On day 5, there were 16 pennies, on day 6, 32, and by the end of the week, the boy had amassed 64 cents. By the end of the second week, he had $81.92, which was not even enough money to buy dinner at the second son's hotel. A few days into the third week, the purse had grown to $655.35, which was barely enough to sustain the boy on his own for a week. The second son was laughing. "You poor fool! I cannot believe you went with the penny. Go to our father and tell him you want to change your mind. Even if he only gives you $500,000, it will be better than this. You are going to starve, and I can't stand the thought of you not having enough to even feed yourself." That night, the old wealthy man died peacefully in his sleep. Near the end of the month, the second boy's executive director gave him some troubling news. "The markets have gone soft, and we will need to revise our projections." The second son was a little startled, but was confident that his investments still had performed well. On day 31, the day in which the boys were to visit the butler and receive their purses, the executive director came with his final report. The executive director said to the second son, "All in all, the good news is that some investments went well, some went poorly, and overall you had a modest gain. We managed to increase your million into nearly $1.5 million, an appreciation of 50%. "What about the bad news?" the second son said. The executive director coughed and cleared his throat. "Well, after expenses, commissions, taxes, bills, broker fees, and my salary, the total costs are $1.75 million. The second son was shocked. He had actually lost his entire $1 million, and he actually owed an additional $250,000. He quickly rushed across town to find his brother. What he heard next was even more shocking. On day 28, the first boy's purse of pennies had passed the $1 million mark. On day 29, the $2.5 million mark. On day 30, it had exceeded $5 million. And finally, on day 31, it had topped $10,737,418. The first son, who decided to wait and choose the penny, was worth more than $10 million. The boy who chose the million was broke and deeply in debt. Pause for a moment and reflect. What lessons does this story teach us? This story illustrates the power of compound interest, which I'm sure most of us know about. But I'd like to highlight an even more powerful lesson here: the power of patience and small daily improvements. Just as compound interest can result in a fortune with time, compound effort can result in success. Most people in life lack patience to see the results they desire. They want the quick, easy fix. We live in a world of instant gratification. If we want something, with a press of a button on our smartphone, it magically appears. Food is at our fingertips with a press of a button. Entertainment is readily available on demand, and we can stream full seasons of TV shows within seconds. If we swipe a button, we can get matched with 50 million romantic candidates instantly. It's no wonder, as a society, we get frustrated when we can't have what we want instantaneously as well. While unfortunately the story of the two sons is fictional, the lesson it teaches us is not. There is no easy fix. We can create the same powerful compounding effects in our life through small, daily, incremental improvements. You're not likely to see results right away, and it could be further down the road, But that doesn't change the fact that what you're doing is helping you progress. Exercising for 10 minutes a day makes us feel more exhausted than if we don't. Exercising for a month and we still look the same in the mirror. But what if we are consistent and make small daily improvements? What if we exercise for just 10 minutes a day, every single day? How would we look like in 1 year's time, 5 years' time? If we are patient, what compounding effects will we see in our life? If you meditated and practiced mindfulness for 1 day, your life would not change. If you meditated and practiced mindfulness for 1 month, you still might not notice any difference. But what if you meditated and practiced mindfulness daily? Where would you be in 1 year's time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time? Think about the freedom you might have, the enlightenment you might have achieved, and the happiness to be able to manifest your dream life. The secrets to success are in the little choices we make every day. It does not happen overnight. To succeed, you must start with something, no matter how small. Even something as insignificant as a penny can be a fortune if you are patient and give it enough time. I'll leave you with one final thought. A penny compounded daily for 17 days is only $655.36. But if you had the patience to wait an extra 14 days, that same penny is worth over $10 million. What if you are just 14 days away from the results you desire in life? Don't give up too early. I hope you enjoyed this video. Our channel focuses on holistic health, meditation, and daily 1% improvements. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the little bell notification to the right. The book, The Slight Edge, written by Jeff Olson, is one of the greatest personal development books written of all time. Make sure you check out the book linked in the description below if you liked the video. How have you been applying the Slight Edge principle in your daily life? Drop a comment below on what you are doing to improve daily 1%. We look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, see you next time.